And welcome. Tonight, President Bola Tinubu received security update from Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Wike on northeastern situation as the defense chief pledges strengthening security nationwide. Senate rejects NNPCL's explanation on alleged 210 trillion naira outstanding, directs the corporation to refund owed funds to the Federation account while investigation continues. FCT Minister Wike clashes with military personnel over an alleged land takeover in the Kaduna district in Abuja and says the property was never allocated to the military. And Pakistan reports that a suicide bombing in Islamabad has claimed 12 lives and left 27 others wounded.
On business news, Nigeria's Finance Minister Wale Edun reassures investors of a fair and balanced approach to the new capital gains tax policy.
On sports news tonight, Super Eagles players and officials boycott Tuesday's training session in Rabat, Morocco over unpaid bonuses by Nigeria Football Federation.
And from the nation's capital, former Petroleum Minister Tinip Silva criticizes the EFCC for declaring him wanted, says he has not absconded and will appear soon after completing his medical evaluation.
We begin tonight with the latest step by the federal government to tackle insecurity in Nigeria. And President Bola Tinubu has received security briefs from the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Wike, on the security situation in the northeastern region of the country. That meeting is the first official engagement between the President and the Chief of Army Staff since his appointment and his subsequent decoration as the Army Chief. In a brief interview shortly after the meeting, Lieutenant General Shaibu said that he had visited the northeast for an on-the-spot assessment of the theater of operation to ascertain the level of progress being made in the fight against terrorism.
I just came to brief him on the outcome of my visit to the northeast region and look at the other security situation across the country, which was satisfactory within this period.
And in the meantime, the federal government says it is engaging the United States through diplomatic channels following comments by U.S. President Donald Trump suggesting possible military action against Nigeria. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, in an interview with Sky News, says discussions are ongoing to ease initial tensions between both countries. According to him, U.S. authorities are now gaining a clearer understanding of the security situation in Nigeria. He maintains that Nigeria has not ceded any territory to Boko Haram, explaining that the fight against terrorism is unconventional and complex. Mr. Idris alleges that certain proscribed separatists are collaborating with lobby groups abroad to misrepresent Nigeria's internal affairs. He says the U.S. has been a long-standing partner in the fight against extremism, and Nigeria will continue to seek collaboration to completely defeat terrorism. He further questioned the credibility of some reports used to support the claim of widespread religious persecution in Nigeria, insisting that the Constitution guarantees religious freedom and the conflict is not driven by religion. The National Human Rights Commission has expressed concern over the continued surge in human rights violations across the country, revealing that it received over 400,000 complaints and monitored 160 incidents of abuses in October 2025. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Mr. Tony Ojukwu, disclosed this at the public presentation of the October 2025 Human Rights Situation Dashboard in the nation's capital, Abuja.
The monthly Human Rights Situation Dashboard meeting has always been a tool for policy direction and public accountability, where the Commission highlights issues of human rights violations affecting victims, amplifies their voices, and provides a reliable source of evidence that informs policy and national responses. In October's report, the Executive Secretary of the Commission and other stakeholders disclosed that the Commission had received over 400,000 complaints of human rights abuses from across the country, noting that the pattern of killings, particularly in the Northeast, had shown the relentless push by terror groups to impose extremist ideologies through violence and fear.
In October 2025, the Commission received a total of 406,088 complaints, over 150 monitored incidents of human rights violations across the country. Complaints received at the NHRC continue to reflect concerns around freedom from arbitrary detention, police misconduct, access to justice, sexual and gender-based violence, and violation of fundamental civil liberty.
On the diplomatic front, Mr. Ojukwu reacted to recent statements by President Donald Trump of the United States, threatening intervention over the killing of Christians in Nigeria, noting that terrorism affects both Christians and Muslims. He urged the international community to adopt a cooperative rather than coercive approach.
The National Human Rights Commission holds the view that rather than threats, the international community, including the United States, should support the efforts of the government of Nigeria and our armed forces to put an end to terrorism and religious extremism. Only through partnership and mutual respect can we fight terror and secure the lives and liberties of all Nigerians. We also note that the injunction from the United States is for government of Nigeria to take urgent steps to stop the killings. And I believe that the government is capable of taking such urgent steps that are needed to stop these killings in Nigeria.
According to these stakeholders, the need to protect the rights to freedom of expression in Nigeria is key to national development.
He was alleged to have killed.
The Senate has rejected explanations offered by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, in the investigation into the outstanding 210 trillion naira against the state-owned oil company, which has not been accounted for, insisting that it must be refunded to the Federation account. The Senate Committee on Public Accounts, chaired by Senator Aliyu Wadada, which has been on the probe for months now, took the decision after the Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPCL, Mr. Bayo Julari, failed to turn up at the resumed sitting at the National Assembly. Our National Assembly correspondent Gloria Umezuki reports.
Plenary in the upper chamber commenced on a dramatic and high-spirited note on the first legislative day as the Deputy Senate President, Senator Barau Jibrin, announced yet another defection from the opposition People's Democratic Party to the ruling All Progressives Congress.
The persistent and deliberating factions within the party at both the national and state levels as a primary reason of my departure. Respectfully yours, Senator Jarigwe Agom Jarigwe. You are most welcome.
The latest defection increases the number of APC senators to 76, further strengthening the ruling party's dominance in the Senate. However, the development did not sit well with members of the opposition who expressed visible displeasure.
What I don't know is whether those who were not elected on the platform of the APC are happy that they are in APC now.
Why they're not for you to learn?
Shortly after plenary, the Senate Committee on Public Accounts reconvened a meeting with the NNPCL over an unaccounted 210 trillion naira funds from its 2017 to 2023 financial statement, but the Chief Executive Officer failed to appear.
I think the most mind-boggling and disturbing of all the issues is that of 210 trillion, which constitutes 103 as accrued expenses and 107 as receivables.
The committee also tagged illegal substances. It said the firm charged on crude oil and refined petroleum products during the period under review in violation of existing laws.
If for any reason the present management of NNPC is having difficulty in garnering the wherewithal to provide acceptable answers to this committee, it is better NNPC comes up to it so that the committee will now find ways to subpoena the former officials of NNPC and NAPIMS.
Other members of the committee also expressed their displeasure over the observed gaps.
And NNPC go on to charge subsidy on refined product. It's not just a matter of law. That is the real word for it is fraud, monumental fraud, and the amount involved is far more than what our president is struggling to borrow from foreign countries. The fact that the GMD is anxious to cover up the fraud suggests that he may also want to continue with business as usual.
The Senate committee noted that it expects the NNPCL board to make a physical appearance at its next scheduled meeting to provide satisfactory explanations on the 210 trillion naira in question. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and some top officials of the FCTA had a face-off with some military men over alleged land grabbing within the Kaduna district of the nation's capital. After a tense argument with the military officers, the FCT minister explained that the officers are acting based on impunity because there is no legal document in the FCTA's record allocating the land to them. Our correspondent, Kobia Buluwade, reports.
Since his assumption in office, one of the core mandates of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, is to redefine the landscape of the FCT by eliminating non-compliance of the FCT Land Use Act by residents. To achieve this, the minister introduced land reform policies as well as set up committees to guide land development in the FCT. The committees were charged, among other things, to review land allocation documents and undeveloped lands in the metropolis. As part of the committee's discovery, this land, which allegedly belongs to a retired military chief, is being developed illegally, as the FCT administration says there is no record of allocation. The FCT minister arrives the land to have a discussion on the issue and meets a face-off between the military personnel on ground and FCTA officials.
Show me the document you have. You have no document.
So what document?
Bring the document.
You have documents.
The altercation deepened when the minister tried to prevent the military officers from coming close to civilians with their rifles.
This is not professional. This is not professional. Please. You can't be pressing the minister with this. You can never develop this property. I will not allow it.
When the tension eased, Mr. Wike explained the reason for the altercation.
It's really unfortunate. And you heard what the officer said was sent by the former chief of naval staff. And I don't understand how somebody who attained that position and you see that he has a problem cannot approach my office to say, look, this is what is going on, this is what is going on. But simply because he's a military man, he could use that to intimidate Nigerians. I'm not one of those kind of persons that will succumb to blackmail or intimidation. I was there. I said, bring the documents. You don't have the documents. Bring the approval for building. You don't have it. And how can we continue to allow lawlessness to prevail in this country? What about those who don't have the military? What about those who don't have security? It has gotten to a level where when government officials are carrying out their job, you go and bring security to intimidate them against government officials. I will not accept that. I've spoken to the Chief of Defense Staff and I've spoken to the Chief of Naval Staff, and they have assured me that, please, they have to resolve the matter. And we're not coming here to have a shooter with anybody to cause chaos or not. But what I can say, I would not allow it to happen.
The minister has vowed to eliminate impunity and other barriers standing as hindrance to the good works of his administration. From Abuja, Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, the federal government affirms its commitment to aligning itself to Africa's technology prosperity. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. President Bola Tinubu received security update from Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Wike on Northeast situation as the defense chief pledges strengthening security nationwide. Senate rejects NNPCL's explanation on alleged 210 trillion naira outstanding, directs the corporation to refund owed funds to the Federation account while investigation continues. FCT Minister Nyesom Wike clashes with military personnel over alleged land takeover in the Kaduna district of Abuja, insists the property was never allocated to the military. And Pakistan reports a suicide bombing in Islamabad, claiming 12 lives and leaving 27 wounded. As Africa navigates a rapidly shifting digital landscape, Nigeria is making a definitive statement that the continent can be powered into a new era of prosperity through technology. The declaration came at the opening of the Digital Nigeria International Conference in Abuja, where government, industry, and global partners all gathered to set the pace for the future. Our correspondent Sunes Nathaniel reports.
The 2025 Digital Nigeria International Conference opened in Abuja with a clear message: the continent's next phase of prosperity will be engineered through technology. Organized by the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDDA, the conference aims to unite Nigeria's tech startups and innovation ecosystems and provide a platform for stakeholders to showcase their work and explore emerging trends in Africa.
We are a nation of over 220 million people, and the average age is 18 years. So this can be our greatest dividend or our most urgent disaster. If we harness it well, if we harness the energy, the creative and talent of our youth, we are not just going to power Nigeria, but we can power the entire Africa into new era of prosperity.
Themed Innovation for a Sustainable Digital Future, accelerating growth, inclusion, and global competitiveness. The federal government is optimistic about the opportunities that digital innovation and artificial intelligence can advance in Nigeria and a continent-wide push for transformation.
We know that with artificial intelligence, we now have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reimagine what is possible, from smarter governance to predictive healthcare, to agricultural optimization, and to digital trade.
Vice President Kashim Shettima opens the three-day conference with a call that places innovation at the center of national ambition.
If there's any shortcut through which we can catch up with the developed economies, it lies in digital innovation. We are endowed with one of the world's most vibrant pools of talent, and the success of our race with the rest of the world can only be guaranteed by us. This is why I'm honored to witness this gathering of stakeholders ready for the task before us.
At the Digital Nigeria Conference, the message is clear and resounding. The future will not wait, and Nigeria, through policy, partnership, and technology, is determined to lead Africa into it. Sunest Nathaniel, Channels Television News.
The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, has announced the commencement of the 2025 Joint Annual Review and the National Council on Health. Speaking during the press briefing held on Tuesday in Abuja, the minister says the annual review will take place from 12 to 14th November 2025, while the National Council on Health will follow from 17th to the 21st of November 2025. This year's joint annual review themed All Hands, One Mission, bringing Nigeria's health sector to light, will also feature the signing of an updated compact that now includes local governments, private sector players, civil society organizations, and traditional and religious leaders.
The Joint Annual Review commences tomorrow, and the context is that it is an opportunity for us to take stock of the transformation journey that we embarked upon in 2023. If you recall, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu unveiled the Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative, got us to sign a compact. We made some agreements with all state governments, with all partners, that will move in this direction. And that as part of those agreements, we will have on annual basis, on quarterly basis, performance dialogue, on annual basis, the joint annual review, which will fit into the statutory National Council on Health, which is the highest policy-making body in our national health system, comprising the federal government and states.
Let's head to the courts now, where Federal High Court in Abuja has for the second time restrained the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, from holding its national convention scheduled to hold in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, on November the 15th and the 16th. The court also barred the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, from supervising, monitoring, or recognizing the outcome of the national convention, where national officers are expected to be elected. Justice Peter Alifu on Tuesday issued the fresh order while delivering ruling in an application brought by a former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido. Mr. Lamido had taken the party before the court, complaining that he was denied the opportunity to buy the chairmanship nomination form to enable him participate in the convention. The judge predicated the restriction order against the PDP on the grounds that the party refused, neglected, and failed to comply with relevant conditions and laws for the conduct of such conventions. The judge also held that evidence from Mr. Lamido shows that the timetable for the convention was not published for the attention of its members as required. Nigeria's security challenges have become top conversation at different fora, including the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, the NIAA, right here in Lagos. It is Distinguished Lecture Series. The governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, revealed his model for curbing insecurity in his state under the topic, the role of state governments in overcoming insecurity in Nigeria. Our foreign affairs correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, reports.
It's another day for the Distinguished Lecture Series of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. And this time, the Kaduna State Governor, Senator Uba Sani, is the guest lecturer. Addressing participants made up of members of the governor's entourage, some members of the diplomatic corps, and research fellows of the Institute and other invited guests, the Director General, Professor Hossa Osaye, reiterates that the issue of national security should not be left to the federal government alone.
Cooperative federalism means that states and the federal government must work together in harmony. They are not rivals or contesting or competing levels of government. They are complementary, especially on matters of security.
Chairman of the NIIA Governing Council, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, vouched for the governor's vision for Nigeria, going back to his days as an activist in the then NADECO.
I know his belief and his vision for this country. I'm sure that when he joined NADECO, he really wasn't sure whether he was going to survive the struggle, knowing the people we were fighting. But he thought He believed that Nigeria was worth fighting for.
The governor's lecture is characterized by security interventions involving people participation in various aspects such as the Interfaith Council.
As a testament to its effectiveness, Kaduna has not experienced any ethno-religious crisis in the last 2.5 years.
The governor refers to his strategy as the Kaduna Peace Model, a holistic approach to solving security challenges with people at the center.
Traditional institutions and local actors play a vital role in the peace building and sustainable development. In many communities, trust in formal security agencies is limited. Harnessing the legitimacy of traditional rulers and community leaders in peace building bridges this trust gap.
During the question and answer session, he addresses the need for community policing, which he says will help shore up the dwindling number of the Nigeria police. Comments and commendations also characterized the session. Amarachi Ubani, Channel Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10. Nigeria's Finance Minister Wale Edun reassures investors of a fair and balanced approach to the new capital gains tax policy. And that's in business news. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The anti-kidnapping unit of the Imo State Police Command has uncovered a decomposing corpse in a suspected kidnapper's den deep inside the Okukuagwa forest. The remains are believed to be those of barrister Jeffrey Uchiagu, who was abducted on October the 14th, 2025. During a guided visit to the site, the police public relations officer, Henry Okoye, says the breakthrough followed intelligence-led investigations. He also says the forensic specialist will collect biological samples to conduct DNA analysis to formally confirm the identity of the victim. Our correspondent, Aita Pakutei, reports.
Officers of the Imo State Police Anti-Kidnapping Unit, alongside journalists, ventured deep into the Okukuagwa forest, a location long associated with kidnapping and violent crimes. To reach the suspected hideout, the team enters through a large breach in the wall leading into an abandoned poultry farm, allegedly used by the kidnappers as an operational base. Inside the deserted structure, officers make a grim discovery: a decomposing body. Police Public Relations Officer Henry Okoye says early indications suggest he may be the missing lawyer who was recently abducted. However, he emphasizes that forensic analysis is required for full confirmation.
On the 14th of October 2025, we received a complaint from the Nigerian Bar Association regarding the kidnapping of one of their members. And since then, operatives of the Imo State Police Command anti-kidnapping units intend to send some samples for further DNA analysis.
A relative of the missing lawyer expresses anguish over the discovery and urges authorities to ensure justice is pursued to the fullest.
We have seen one decomposed corpse, yet to be identified, whether it's our brother or not. But we believe and we are pleading through further investigation, through DNA or whatever, maybe it might be discovered. But for now, we are still pleading with police to continue on their investigation to make sure that the culprits are being brought to book.
Okoye assures that the police remain committed to dismantling kidnapping syndicates across the state, adding that operations will intensify until criminal hideouts are eliminated and public confidence is restored.
The operatives of the Imo State Police Command anti-kidnapping units, they are working tirelessly to make sure that the suspects involved are all apprehended and brought to book. And I'm assuring you that in no distant time, they will all be arrested and made to face the full wrath of the law.
The search continues as officers comb surrounding bush paths for additional hideouts, while forensic experts work to determine the identity of the recovered remains. The police vow that those responsible for the crime will be found and prosecuted. Ejitope Kutai, Channels Television News.
Let's head to the nation's capital, Abuja, where Terry Ikume is standing by to bring us more stories on the news at 10. Hello, Terry.
Well, hi, Anne. Thank you very much. Now, the former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and ex-Governor of Bayelsa State, Chief Tinip Silva, has responded to the notice issued by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission declaring him wanted. In a statement issued by his media aide, Julius Bokuru, Silva faulted the EFCC's approach, describing his declaration as hasty and politically motivated. He insists he has not absconded, explaining that he is currently in the United Kingdom for medical treatment and will return to honor the invitation once his health evaluation is concluded. The statement also noted that the allegations against the former minister have shifted over time, claiming that the development suggests a political undertone rather than a straightforward investigation. Meanwhile, the EFCC maintains that Silva is wanted in connection with an ongoing financial probe and posted the notice across its official communication channels.
Congratulations, Your Excellency. Your mandate has now been legally ratified by...
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has issued a certificate of return to Anambra State Governor and winner of the November 8 governorship election, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, as well as his running mate and incumbent Deputy Governor, Dr. Onyekachukwu Ibezim. The ceremony held at the INEC headquarters in Oka. The state's resident electoral commissioner, Mrs. Queen Elizabeth Agu, said the certificate of return presentation ceremony marks the end of the democratic process. Governor Chukwuma Soludo expresses gratitude to the people of Anambra for the smooth and successful election exercise. He notes that history has been made, as he is the third governor of Anambra State to be re-elected. The governor adds that with a renewed mandate, the state will experience accelerated development.
And for an election that has been also not just victory, but a historic one. History made with this election. Unprecedented in the history of Anambra in terms of the voter turnout. Whenever votes have been counted, in any governorship election that votes have been counted, not anyone that they wrote, somebody wrote the result, but that votes counted. This is one that you have, even the margin of victory, the total vote that we gathered, happened to exceed what used to be the total number of votes cast in previous years. And but I say history is made. History is also made because this is the third time since 1999 that Anambra State is re-electing a sitting governor.
From Anambra, we head to Gombe State, where the state government is pledging to continue to carry citizens of the state along in its development agenda. The Deputy Governor of Gombe State, Mr. Manasseh Jetau, stated this during the state government's public consultation meeting on the 2026 budget. The exercise is organized by the State Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning and the State Ministry of Finance and Economic Development to collate inputs from citizens of the state.
This is the 6th edition of the Gombe State Public Consultation Meetings that always precedes the state's budget, as institutionalized by Governor Inuwa Yahaya in tandem with his administration's policy of inclusivity and international best practices since coming into power in 2019. The meeting provided officials of the state government to state some of the deliverables in the last 6 years, including the 228 primary healthcare facilities across 114 wards, over 900 kilometers of roads under network, and an ultra-modern 3-arm zones consisting of High Court and House of Assembly complexes and the State Secretariat.
People think that government are the elected persons. No. Government is more of the people that did the elections. Those that elect the elected persons are more of the government. And it is because of that that we in Gombe, we say we will never prepare a budget without bringing them. Like Abiola will always tell you, you cannot shave my head in my absence.
For 2026, we expect to listen to our citizens, the youth, the women, the traditional leaders, and all members of society, civil society organizations, and all individual citizens of Gombe to express their views, express their needs, their desires, their wants, so that the state will capture all those requirements within the budget for 2026.
While appreciating citizens' inclusion and participation, participants are vocal enough to make demands on the government as touching the 2026 budget.
What we are calling for is to make sure that the present administration has completed all capital projects, so that whoever that is coming, even if he doesn't have that mind of continuity, at least our resources will not be in vain, will not be wasted.
You can see the caliber of people that are here, different ages, different group, and all. That means they value their citizens. They value the voices of people in the state.
The state government believes that carrying the people along is key to the administration's development plans.
There is nothing a government can achieve without the advices, the input of the citizens of Gombe State. And we have seen it. That is the reason why His Excellency is getting the cooperation and assistance of all and prayers of all the citizens of Gombe State, because once he says he's going to do it, he does it.
As testament to citizen engagement and commitment to implementation, the government of Gombe State has reviewed a recent positive ranking by budget, placing the state over 80% budget implementation in the health sector.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. Laddie Williams has business news.
Thanks, Terry. Well, in business, see, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission said it will open the 2025 oil licensing bid round on December 1st, marking a major push to unlock Nigeria's upstream oil potential. The move announced at the Project 1 million barrels of oil per day additional production investment forum in London comes after Bola Tinubu gave approval under the Petroleum Industry Act. The regulator also acknowledged that although financing remains the biggest hurdle in the sector, it aims to bring together all stakeholders to drive additional output. And now to the economy. Nigeria's economy is shifting into higher gear and attracting more interest from investors, and that's according to Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Speaking at the bank's 2025 executive seminar in Abuja, Dr. Cardoso says that if macroeconomic fundamentals such as stability, transparency and predictability are firm in place, Nigeria won't need to beg investors to come and invest. They will come naturally. He emphasized that the era when access to the CBN depended on personal connections is over, and that the country must avoid returning to heavy reliance on federal borrowing from the central bank. And Nigeria's Finance Minister, Wale Edun, has reassured investors of a balanced approach to the proposed capital gains tax as the Nigerian Exchange celebrated the listing of the Ministry of Finance Incorporated Real Estate Investment Fund Series 2. Speaking at a closing gong ceremony, Mr. Edun highlighted the capital market's crucial role in addressing the country's housing deficit, while analysts noted that aligning fiscal policy with investor expectations remains key to sustaining market confidence amid ongoing geopolitical tension and portfolio adjustments.
The tax and fiscal policy reform project done its job, presented the bill. The National Assembly has done its job. It has passed the act into law, and it is now left to the fiscal authorities, left to the Ministry of Finance and its implementation committee to carefully and efficiently implement the law. We have heard what you have said on capital gains tax. We are looking at it, and we will confirm. We will confirm to the way that gives Nigeria an optimum result.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's market plunged dramatically at the close of trade today, wiping out a staggering 4.6 trillion naira, that's in market value. And John McQuarrie has the details.
to the stock market report. So whether it's capital gains tax, which has a new rate beginning from January, that's from 10% to 30%, or is the threat from President Donald Trump, or it's seasonal, Nigeria's stock market continues that downward trend. And today we saw a huge 4.64 trillion naira shaved off the market, bringing it down, that's the market cap, away from the 90 trillion naira to 89.884 trillion naira. Now look at the all share. This all share actually opened today's trade at 148,000 level, but can you believe it? It's now at 141,000. This is worrying. It's 5.19% in the red, and it's mostly because a huge chunk of the profit from Dangote Cement has been taken away. 66 naira is what was taken off for it to close at 594 naira. But it's not just Dangote Cement. Let's look at the counters now, especially banking. Banking today got really hit. All the fugars fell to profit, taking 8.37%. Consumer goods also follows 2.2%. Cadbury, Guinness, International Breweries, Honeywell Flour, Nigerian Breweries, everybody got a bit of that. Oil and gas also followed. Aradel, Japogo, O&O, and that's why that counter is 4.65% in the red. So it's a worrying one for a lot of investors, but I guess it's a happy one for the bear.
And that's business news. Back to Anne.
Thank you, Ladi. And outside our shores, 12 people have been killed in a suicide attack in the Pakistani capital, Islamabad, and at least 27 others have been injured from that incident. According to the country's Minister of Interior, Mohsin Naqvi, he says the bomber was planning to attack the district courthouse, but he was unable to get inside. Here's Saman Pusey with this and more international news and around the world in 5 from a London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Pakistan's Interior Minister says a suicide attack outside a court in the capital Islamabad has killed 12 people and injured at least 27 more. Mohsin Naqvi said a bomber was planning to attack the district courthouse but was unable to get inside. Naqvi said authorities would prioritize identifying the bomber and that those involved would be brought to justice. The Pakistani Taliban has claimed responsibility. Suicide blasts in Islamabad have been rare in recent years. Footage from the scene showed the remains of a burnt-out car and a police cordon in place. In India, police are still investigating what caused a blast that killed at least 8 people in central Delhi. The 17th century Red Fort, which attracts thousands of tourists every day, saw an explosion in a car yesterday, which also injured more than 20 people. It was so powerful that several vehicles nearby almost melted, and people could hear the blast from kilometers away.
The bill, as amended, is passed.
The U.S. Senate has passed a crucial funding bill that could bring the longest government shutdown in history to an end within days. The bill passed in a 60-40 vote on Monday, with nearly all Republicans joining 8 Democrats who splintered from the party to approve it. The deal funds the government until the end of January. The House of Representatives will now have to pass the bill before President Donald Trump can sign it into effect. Trump signaled he would be willing to do so.
We should not have had people leaving their jobs. And what I basically did is say the ones that stayed, of which there were a lot of them, I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace.
The prosecutor in Turkey's biggest city has accused the popular mayor, Ekrem İmamoğlu, of 142 corruption offences that command jail terms ranging from 828 to 2,352 years. İmamoğlu, considered the main political rival to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, has been in pre-trial custody since March on suspicion of corruption. The Istanbul mayor and his opposition Republican People's Party deny any wrongdoing and accuse the president and his allies of launching a crackdown in response to Mr. Erdogan's decline in popularity.
Já não é uma ameaça do futuro. É uma tragédia do presente.
The world must defeat climate denialism and fight fake news, Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has told the opening meeting of the UN climate talks.
deixaram vítimas fatais.
In a rallying cry to COP30, President Lula again made thinly veiled references to President Donald Trump, who branded climate change a con job in September. The 2 weeks of talks kicked off on Monday in the Brazilian city of Belém on the edge of the Amazon rainforest. They take place against a fraught political backdrop, and the US has sent no senior officials.
Police officers.
A woman said by police to have bought cryptocurrency now worth billions of pounds using funds stolen from thousands of Chinese pensioners has been sentenced to 11 years and 8 months for money laundering.
Police! Police!
After fleeing China, Chen Zhemin moved to a mansion in Hampstead in North London. The Metropolitan Police raided it a year later and made one of the world's single largest crypto seizures. More than 100,000 Chinese people had invested money in her company, which claimed to be developing high-tech health products and mining cryptocurrency.
As part of this investigation, we seized over 61,000 Bitcoin, now worth approximately £5 billion, alongside other non-crypto assets valued at more than £20 million. This currently represents the largest confirmed cryptocurrency seizure anywhere in the world and the biggest money laundering investigation in UK investigative history by value.
And the Princess of Wales and the Queen have joined services to mark Armistice Day in the UK as events took place around the world. Catherine stood at the ceremony at the National Memorial Arboretum in Staffordshire, where the last post signalled the start of a national 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. to mark the end of World War I. Queen Camilla was at Paddington Station in London for the wreath-laying ceremony, having travelled by train. The Prince of Wales also delivered a video message to young people, sharing his views on the importance of wearing a red poppy and to say that remembrance is for everyone. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. A high-level delegation is in London on the behest of the President to discuss the case of a former Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, who's been serving a prison sentence in the United Kingdom since March 2023. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, and the Attorney General of the Federation of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, have held discussions with officials at the UK Ministry of Justice regarding Mr. Ekweremadu's incarceration. Mr. Ekweremadu and his wife were arrested by the London Metropolitan Police in June 2022 after a man was falsely presented to a private renal unit at Royal Free Hospital in London as a cousin to their daughter Sonia in what turned out to be a failed attempt to persuade medics to carry out an £80,000 transplant. The former Deputy Senate President was convicted in the UK for his role in organ trafficking after attempting to bring the 21-year-old Lagos Street vendor to Britain for a kidney transplant intended for his daughter, and was found guilty of organ trafficking by a UK court in May and sentenced to 9 years and 8 months under the UK Modern Slavery Act. Let's delve into the world of sports now. Chris Illems is standing by.
Thank you and welcome to Sports News. Super Eagles players and officials boycotted today's training session in Rabat, Morocco over unpaid bonuses and allowances with their crucial World Cup playoffs clash against Gabon scheduled for Thursday. All invited players are in camp and are waiting a quick resolution to continue preparation for the Thursday's game. There are reports the National Sports Commission is weighing in on the issue for a quick resolution, as the issues is not only about outstanding bonuses but special requests by the players ahead of the game on Thursday. The national under-20 female team, the Falconets, made it 3 wins in 3 games to emerge champions of the WAFU B under-20 girls tournament in Benin Republic. The Falconets routed their Ghanaian counterparts 3-0 earlier today at the same Start Omni Sport. The Falconets had defeated the Princesses 3-1 on Saturday and beat host Benin Republic 3-0 on Sunday. The Falconets will be up against their host nation on Wednesday morning, but the encounter is largely ceremonial as Nigeria have claimed the trophy. And Portuguese superstar Cristiano Ronaldo says next year's World Cup would be his last as he winds down one of the all-time great careers. The 40-year-old forward, with more than 950 club and international goals, has also confirmed he would retire from football in 1 or 2 years. The 5-time Ballon d'Or winner is hoping to play at his 6th World Cup next year. He came closest to lifting the trophy on debut in 2006 when Portugal lost to France in the semi-finals. That sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you very much, Chris. And the main news again. President Bola Tinubu has received security update from Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Wike on Northeast security situation as the defense chief pledges strengthening security nationwide. Also, Senate has rejected NNPCL's explanation on alleged 210 trillion naira outstanding, directs corporation to refund old funds to the Federation account while investigation continues. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Good night.